Hello everybody, the name is Levelary Jr. and I am here with MYTHM, a name who has been running through the EDM industry ever since, I was going to say 2019 with the song Reload, but that isn't necessarily the case. It began much later than that with your friend Pat when MYTHM was a duo, when I heard this little song released in December 2018 with you as Pneumatic and Strange Thing, aka Pat.
Whoa.
Yes,
this is like some Nardwar shit.
Thank you. Well, you're MYTHM. We need to know, and you can kind of thank.
Amazing.
And you can also kind of thank Taboo for that. So again,
yeah.
I have to ask. Well, we already know. You just chose the name out of thin air. You just chose the word myth, add an M to it.
Yeah.
But there really is no power or no presence in the name MYTHM. You just
I basically took, so my initials are MM, so I went myth, added an M on the end, and then it emphasizes like mythical, mysterious, whatever, just that like kind of smoke and mirrors vibe. That's what I was going for at the beginning, and I feel like the name's unique. Sometimes people don't know how to say it. They'll be like MYTHM or something, but yeah, it's just MYTHM,
right.
Myth with an M. Sometimes people are like MYTHM. UK people say MYTHM.
Well, I will say this: when we hear some the first few tracks of MYTHM, when I hear the produce tag of MYTHM, it really sounded very mysterious, like almost it was like a ghost type of thing.
Totally.
But I feel like definitely the power of mystery or like that type of presence throughout the music is definitely showing. It's definitely protruding throughout all the incredible songs, not just from as Pneumatic, but also with Reload and so many other songs building up to where we are now with your debut album, Mind of Madness.
Yes.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But speaking of that album, there's one thing I have to touch on.
Yeah.
You really went hard on this, saying that when it came to doing your sets, when it comes to really showing the music out there, you're not one who likes to set things up or have a script with your music.
No.
You're a guy who really likes to freestyle. So I'm very curious to know, when we had the Mind of Madness tour, was it still freestyle, or you still want to give some respect and admiration to what you already created in your debut album?
When I say freestyle, I more so just mean I'm not planning sets with let's say cue points and markers to knowing what's coming. I've been DJing since grade 9. I've always been a DJ before I was a producer. So I love DJing. I love the art of mixing and DJing, the headphones, actual beat matching. I feel like nowadays that's slowly disappearing, and there's no right or wrong way to plan a set or make a set or DJ a set. I've just never planned. And for the tour, Mind of Madness tour, I have ideas of what I'll play. Okay, I'm going to play this tonight. I'm going to play my new stuff. I'm going to play my unreleased stuff. I'm going to play my Riddim stuff. If it's more for a deeper crowd, that's what being an artist is about. You have to read the room.
Understood.
So, like for tape B, the tape B stops, I'm not playing as deep. I'm playing a lot heavier because these kids, they want the heavy stuff. They're not as inclined into the UK sounds as some dubstep. So I'm doing a mix of both, and I think that's good. It's a segue for them to kind of find out the more UK sound system stuff.
Understood. And regarding with being with Tape B in these multiple stops throughout his, I believe his second tour, first was the old school versus new school, and now we're into this second tour. How does it feel to open for a legend such as Tape B? And I can't believe I'm saying a legend like Tape B, because I've been seeing him grow ever since years and years ago when he was just nothing but just a supporting artist just opening up. And now to have his own headline show, it's something to behold, something to be proud of. And for him, if you're seeing this Tape B, sincerely appreciate so much for all the work you're putting out there. How does it feel?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I just want to say big up to Burke and his whole crew for having me part of the tour. But yeah, man, I'm super proud of him. Honestly, I released with Webaholics, that label he's been associated with for years. Yeah, Webaholics, that label, and he was doing stuff a couple years ago with them, and we were playing shows together, and honestly, just the last couple of years, he's absolutely just taken over, and I think what hits really well with his sound is he's bringing the old school hip hop, or not the old school hip hop, but like the hip hop kids and the bass music kids together, and it's a perfect match. And yeah, I think it's just like, that's what the new sound is for these kids that are now, you know, they came out of COVID or whatever, and they haven't been partying and going to shows, right? So that's what I've also been noticing. There's like a side combo that I can talk about here, is all these young kids that were in a pandemic, didn't really party, you know, they were in COVID, and now they're going to shows and they're finding new artists online, on TikTok, on Instagram. So guys like him, and it's just like a perfect match. It's just a perfect match for them.
Understood. Yeah. Now, regarding, you mentioned, I know no one really wants to talk about the whole COVID-19 thing. Yeah. No one wants to talk about the pandemic. However, for someone like you, you said that COVID-19, if I recall correctly, was like a double-edged sword. Exactly. Either it was the best time for a lot of people, and for other times it was a struggling time because everything was shut down, everything was locked down. For someone like you, yes, you did have your struggles here and there. I mean, you were riding high with the song Reload and a few other songs, being noticed by all these other people, but then COVID hit and everything was shut down. However, after Pat left, after you took the realms of MYTHM, you decided that throughout a majority of COVID-19 time, I'm going to focus all my time, all my effort in the MYTHM project and let this build. Yeah. So what you can kind of say it was a positive side more so for you, right?
So exactly. And touching on what the double-edged sword is, it allowed, like, you could look at COVID, the pandemic, as a negative thing, like, you know, everything's messed up and we're stuck inside, or you could use it as an opportunity to, you know, grind on your current craft, start a new craft, reset, you know, just try to use it as a positive thing. And that's exactly what I did. I was working as a server and I was going to school, and then both of those stopped, and then it allowed me to focus full time on my music. Pat had just left MYTHM at the beginning of 2020 and January, and then COVID, February, March. We released MYTHM January 1st, 2019, and we did 5 singles, like Reload, Obey, Squeeze,
Only Way,
Close Your Eyes, a lot of the halftime stuff, and that was a lot of Pat's sound, and then I was took my pneumatic sound, which was also the halftime stuff, and we kind of meshed, and that's how we came up with MYTHM, because we did Strange Thing and Pneumatic, and then we were just writing a bunch of music, and we were like, let's do a duo, and I came up with the name, and it was kind of just, the rest was history. But things got slow, and then he started a family, and Pat's, you know, I love that guy to death. We still chat all the time, and so then I kind of took the reins, and I was like, all right, you know, sink or swim. It's time to fucking work. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear.
Oh no, you can definitely. I can't, because I've been on the run of not cursing for the past 25 years of my life.
Amazing, I love that. You know, sink or swim, and it was an opportunity for me to buckle down and just focus on music production. And honestly, things have just gone by so fast. But why I say it's a double-edged sword was writing all this music, having time to reflect and figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And then also everyone was online listening to music, watching live streams, and that was like a huge thing for me. Like, I remember I sent Ternion my dubs, and they were doing DDD live streams, and like that was a huge, they started playing my dubs from my Technique. That was my article EP, and that was like the Technique tours, my debut tour, and all this stuff. So it all segues into each other.
You also got to give some love to, I believe, Electric Hawk as well, since they were also doing some virtual live stream as well, the Harmony and all that stuff.
As soon as COVID hit, I actually got into a Discord with all those guys. It was just like a very crazy time, and they were just awesome friends to me and really helped me out. So shout out all the Electric Hawk fam.
Appreciate you guys so freaking much, man. I had to give love to them because I was also a part of the team.
I was in the Discord all the time.
Not anymore, but again, I give my love to Electric Hawk because what they've done, what you've done as well with the song Lockjaw, freaking amazing in 2021.
Yeah, the compilation.
Now I'm just curious to know as well, since you said that after, like during COVID-19, you were trying to know you had that halftime sound before with Pneumatic and building it up with Pat, and then the reins were given to you. So I'm curious to know, is the sound like currently evolving? Like how would you describe the sound nowadays when we listen to Mind of Madness, when we listen to some of these singles? How you explain the sound now of MYTHM?
So real quick, going back to 2017. I went to Bass Coast and Shambhala. Those were my first bass festivals, and at the time, halftime was huge. I saw Thelum, Greasus, Craze, Alex Perez, Shades, E-Prom, solo sets like
G Jones.
G Jones wasn't at Bass Coast, but just like crazy halftime beats. Halftime nowadays, it's not the same anymore. Like the Ivy Lab 2020 London Volume 1, that compilation was like. First hearing that, just absolute rocked my world after Bass Coast and Shambhala. So I started getting really inspired by that halftime sound, and that's what I started producing. Actually, the first stuff I started producing in like 2016, when I first started, like just opening up the DAW, was like almost like res type stuff, because I was inspired by Gesaffelstein. So like I could go on like. I could go on this for hours, but I started with like Bloody Bee Roots into like Skrillex, into that stuff, and then I found myself with like Gesaffelstein, and then like Chris Lorenzo and all the like house stuff, Joyride, and then I went to Shambhala and Bass Coast, and then I saw this bass music stuff. So me and Pat, we did the halftime stuff. He left, then I got it into the more 120. Slower, murkier stuff. I was really inspired by the artists that I saw at Bass Coast, these guys. So I experimented into that, and then I got into the UK dubstep 140 stuff, and that's kind of where things segued into. And it was definitely because of my EP technique that came out on Article, Shadow J Kenzo, and then I did my technique tour. And it was like kind of like in 2021 or 2022, I can't remember. It was like October 2022, I think. So it's coming up on like 3 years of touring, basically, exactly.
3 years, but I would say it's also maybe the 2-year anniversary of that tour.
Yeah, that's
it's
crazy.
It's October 11th.
Yeah, I think my first date was the 21st or something, but that was a surreal experience going from a pandemic to touring in the States. I would come back to Vancouver because I'm from Vancouver, Canada. We'd have to mask up, and then I would go to Florida or whatever, and everything's just fine. So it was a really strange time, but so I ventured into the 140 UK dubstep stuff, and then I started to just put my spin on it, and then that kind of where it brought me to like the MYTHM sound that everyone knows today. And then now I've been venturing into the more heavier Riddim stuff, and that's where I feel like I am now. But I'll always have that MYTHM sound. It's not like I'm like changing, but I'm making the Riddim stuff, and I'm doing it with the 140 vibes, and I'm doing my take on it, and the whole MYDDM thing is catching on, which I think is really dope.
Understood.
And I've always been into the heavy music. Like I said, growing up into the like heavy Skrillex or whatever stuff, Excision, Downlink, all that stuff. So it kind of makes sense for me. I've always made heavy dubstep, but now I'm like, okay, I want to play Riddim shows, Riddim tours, actually like get into that circle of community, because I really do love that Riddim community. They're diehard. On SoundCloud, put up a clip, whatever. It's really like online presence, production matters. In it all day. Not saying production doesn't matter and other things, but I just mean like people are the fans are super in it. They're like, they know every song, they know every double drop, whatever. So being at Lost Lands, it was crazy to see that. So
Third time performing there.
it was my second time.
Okay.
My second time. I performed there in 2022, and I closed the Forest stage 3 to 4 a.m. But I was in and out for just a couple hours. I was just like in, out, because I did Wakan and a Boston show that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
This year, I played the pre-party, and I was there literally the whole time. I was there from Tuesday to Tuesday because I had to come a night earlier, played the pre-party, stayed the whole time because all my friends were coming later, my manager was coming later, and I was just great to network and meet a bunch of awesome people, and then I left back to Atlanta where I'm living now with my girlfriend on Tuesday, and the festival ended whatever Monday or Sunday. Yeah, I can't remember. It was just a blur. But
I know it's a hectic schedule, a lot to juggle, but hey, you did it, and that's the power of MYTHM. Like, it seems like, no, you're still blessing everyone with your presence, with your music, no matter where you go, and that's something I give my whole heart respect to you as well.
Thank you.
And speaking of the artists that like really inspired you to also get to this point of the sound, are there any artists that inspired you now that you really listen to that really inspired you to this day? I know it changes here and there.
A lot of it's changing. Obviously, like a big one for me has always been Buka's Finest. I loved what he's done with the deep stuff, like where he can release on Deep Medi, but then also play Rampage and go back to back with Infect and like Monsters and be like total rhythm heavy shit. And now he's doing the Fine Buster heavy dubstep project, but I've always just loved how he's done his own thing, and that's like, you can always tell at Buka's Finest soon. I love what I was saying, Infect. I love how Infect has gone from the like, he's like, I remember listening to his early releases on Dublock, and he was releasing like hella UK sound system deep stuff, and now he's paved his own lane
with the Veggie Friends EP.
Yeah, I love
play it twice, that type of thing.
I love it because it's heavy, but it's fun. It's not always super serious, and like, it can be really just like danceable, and that's
rhythm, Tara, it's not really genres that should be taken so seriously.
Exactly.
When I see those shows, everyone's just having a good time, just enjoying the ride, like you like to say.
I like
enjoy the
rhythm
journey
stuff because people are just like, it's like that goblin mode. They're just like, the tear out stuff is super dope too, and it's super heavy, and like Murata and like Nimda and like the Sudden Death stuff. I really like the Master Hand project. Eptic, Space Laces, Sudden Death, their set of Lost Lands. Yeah, Eptic, Space Laces, Sudden Death, absolutely legends. Super dope. Yeah, I really like Eptic, really like Space Laces and Sudden Death. But my inspirations change a lot, but I think so does kind of the avenue of where I want MYTHM to go. You know, I was into the halftime, into the 140, into this, into that. So I'm always growing as an artist, as a person, and I think that's important. And I never want to pigeonhole myself. And I know a lot of people who are like they're like, I only want to do like this avenue, but it's like, do everything. Like, you know, make drum and bass, make house music, make garage, breaks, whatever. You can make stuff and not even finish it. You could just practice, you know, just practice making a house tune. Get outside your comfort zone. Have fun. That's what production's about, having fun.
Exactly.
And when it becomes a chore, when it becomes like
a job.
Oh, I need to rush into making something because I'm late on this, or it's just like, it becomes more of a chore. And I just love making music, and at the end of the day, like, I love the shows, I love touring, I love meeting people and all that stuff. But if my actual dream, would also be making like rap beats for artists and stuff, and doing a side thing with that. I would love to just do everything I can just to kind of be like, okay, that's MYTHM. He's there, he does the rap stuff, whatever. He does the EDM stuff, like Tara Reid. I was listening to Tara Reid's new album today.
Oh, yes.
Absolute, he's like a genius. He did the EDM stuff, he produced the entire, whatever, he's working with Suicide Boys, he's now done his Tara Reid stuff. I think that's really dope. Because it's like, you don't see many people doing that.
You do not, and major props together for moving to that avenue and absolutely destroying it. And this leads to my final question: as you're talking about all this stuff, I have to ask this: what could possibly be next for MYTHM? And I feel it's going to be another tour. Are you going to try doing all those types of avenues here and there to really make sure that MYTHM is truly everywhere in the scene?
So I think my next big plan for especially next year is I've been making up a bunch of this Riddim stuff, and I'm going to do a big showcase mix of showcasing all the new heavy stuff, and then I'm going to take that on tour. But I really just want to do 10 of my top cities and keep it a less is more intimate vibe, and really try to grow that that avenue of the heavy stuff. But still, I'm always going to be making the deep stuff, releasing the UK sound system stuff.
Understood. If I may throw out one city that you can definitely come to that is hella inside when it comes to rhythm and tear out, you can definitely go to NYC, talk to a person named Riddim NYC and Connecticut Live. Some of these people, and I feel like some of those people who I've been seeing out there, they have Riddim busts. They have stuff at the Meadows and the Monarch, and they are absolutely just they don't care about the production or anything. All they care about,
Scotty Runks,
Scotty P. Papa Runks. All those people, they do not. They don't really care much about the whole production or how pretty it looks. It's all about the music. It's all about having at least few good CDJs, and it's absolutely going ham on there. It's something to win. It's something to really take in, and for them to be in places like the Meadows and the Broadway and witnessing what they're building is something that I believe the industry, the rhythm community desperately needs. So I had to shout them out and tell them, if you ever want to do a bit of work with them when you're doing this whole 10 city MYTHM tour, that's one place you should definitely go to. And who knows, bring out Infect, all the people who are also doing this type of thing for rhythm. It's something I feel like I would love to witness. It'll be a beautiful thing to see. So I'm just putting it out there. Take it or leave it. Talk to your manager.
No, I know Scotty well, and I played in Connecticut at the Webster
Underground
a couple months ago. But Scotty and me are definitely going to be working in the future, and I definitely just want to keep doing my thing, but bring that new MYTHM stuff into the fold. Marketing it as the MYTHM thing I think is cool because it's catching on and people are messaging me hey, are you playing MYTHM tonight? What type of set are we going to get? And on the Tapey tour, I've been playing heavy stuff, and it's just, I can tell everyone's super hyped.
Right. Although for those people who are asking what type of set we're getting, there really is no answer. Because that's the beauty of MYTHM.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're gonna get. I like to say the words expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected.
I feel like they should call that to be the title of your tour. Expect the unexpected. That's the hour of MYTHM.
Nice.
So MYTHM, thank you so much for the talk.
Man.
We really appreciate you so much. All the ideas, take it or leave it. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Again, this is Level Jr. MYTHM Avenue Live Tape B signing out. Love you guys so much.
Peace.
And with that, we're good.